Good morning. Good morning. This is my left ear. Welcome. I am Carrie Freeman. It's video number 73. It is Tuesday, January 18th. Hello. Little bit different today. I decided to go into some runes reading for 22 and a little numerology. I just thought shake it up, be a little different. So that's how we're going to rock and roll today. My name is Carrie Freeman. This YouTube has been up for a little over a year, and it's about left-leaning politics. So if you're with right-leaning politics, you will not like this YouTube, and you should probably move on. You'll just get aggravated. And then I do some spiritual stuff. So I've got like a cotton ball hair or something just bugging me. Everybody's had that. Where I do political commentary and some psychic commentary along with it, and then some other what I call goodies, feel good goodies. So I always like to say this is for entertainment purposes only. And if you likey, please subscribe-y, and any comments are welcome. I get great comments from people, and sometimes people know more than I do and they correct me, or they answer a question when I couldn't think of a name. So you're all beautiful and really helpful. So here's where we're going to start today. I pulled the runes for 2022. I just pulled 3 like I always do. And I have them here because sometimes I read the runes and I don't hold them up. And a certain amount of people, please hold those runes up so we can see them and learn more. So I'm going to hold them up today. So I just said, what's the overall energy for 2022? And I got, the first one I got, and don't get upset, don't get worried, it's the Rune of Disruption. A little bit like the Tower in the tarot, but maybe not as dark as the Tower can be. So let me just share with you what it says about disruption, because it's not all bad. It's kind of what we want. Change, freedom, invention, liberation. And it talks about a pressing need to break free from constricting identification with the material world. And of course, the political world is the material world. It does tell us, expect disruption. I don't think that's a surprise for any of us as we enter into this 2022 with a lot of things hanging in the balance. Political things, legal things, criminal things. So disruption is very appropriate. And in that way, we can really accept the next 2 runes that I chose. So it says, expect disruption, but it is the great awakener. And I think that's what we're entering into. There may be a feeling, a gradual feeling of coming to your senses, as if emerging from a long sleep. Now I want to insert something there, as if emerging from a long nightmare, rather than sleep, okay? Now, here's where we start to get juicy. The second rune, really positive. And by the way, all these runes were upright. There were no reversals. You can't reverse this one. It is the Rune of Fertility. Fertility, it's very positive. All right, so fertility, new beginnings, an urge towards harmonizing. And I wrote healing in question marks. A difficult state of mind can be resolved and turned around. My interpretation is that difficult state of mind has been the last 4 years. This rune signals emergence from a closed chrysalis state, closed. But we must fertilize the ground for our own deliverance. And that would be the party's deliverance. May be required to get free from a rut, relationship, habit, or some deep cultural pattern. That caught me, some deep cultural pattern, like Trumpism, like domestic violence, like racism, deep cultural pattern. We're trying to dig ourselves out. And the advice is be centered and be grounded, okay? Fertility, new beginnings, it's good. And then the last one, which I have not pulled for a long time, it hasn't been one of my, some runes appear over and over, and I'll tell you what, disruption appears over and over since I've been doing these runes for you, but not so much partnership. This one is partnership. Isn't that shocking? So that's the rune for partnership, and there is no reverse. So what's interesting is that every rune I pulled for this question about 2022 has no reverse. I just thought that was interesting. Partnership. Okay, partnership in some form is at hand. Again, I wrote a healing question mark. And it says, it cautions, do not collapse into that union. However, because whole beings, and I see that as two parties, must maintain their uniqueness even if they unite. And that made me think of the midterms. In fact, I typed midterms, a note to myself and to you. And also there's another piece of this. It's the partnership with the divine, with what I talk about sometimes, what a lot of readers talk about, the divine. And it suggests that we see the divine in all matters. So overall, these are really good runes for 2022. And of course, that doesn't mean perfect. That doesn't mean we're going to be done and things are going to be wrapped up with a bow. There's always going to be strife. There's always going to be difficulty. It's the nature of the beast. If we're looking at Washington, D.C., what people want, policies, divides. But this partnership rune, it makes me think of something. It makes me think that there's going to be this expulsion of guilty congresspeople, maybe some senators. You know, I didn't write this down. It just occurred to me, dang. But Congressman Jamie Raskin, who is just dynamite. And he is the congressman who lost his son to suicide, his grown son who was in law school, quite brilliant. But Jamie Raskin never stopped serving. He just, it was right after January 6th, and this man has just been fighting and fighting and fighting, and he's on the committee, and he's brilliant. He gave a little hint, and the hint in one of his interviews was, I'm going to paraphrase it, but it was like, wait until the committee starts talking to people publicly on TV. Because he said basically it's going to be mind-blowing. And that we are going to hear names that we have not heard before, that we know. So there's a lot that's going to be emerging according to Jamie Raskin, and it's going to be mind-blowing. Well, I have felt, my left ear has felt that there's going to be, you know, like seats vacated. Republican seats are going to be vacated, and some of them are going to be replaced with Democrats. And if we get Boebert out and Marjorie Taylor Greene and these very cancerous, toxic, traitorous people, there's room for more partnership, to disagree, to negotiate policies like the old days a little bit. So that's where we're at right now. Now I'm going to move on to numerology. So here's the thing with numerology. We're in year 2022. Now that adds up, because you always add, almost always add numbers together when you're doing numerology. And this adds up to a 6 year. So I did a reading on what a 6 year is like for an individual, but I also did it for 22, because in the world of numerology, 22 is the master number. I actually had a boyfriend in my early life, my youth, he was born under 22, and when I knew him, all I saw and all my parents saw was this incredible intelligence and potential. And then he did go on later on in life to win a Pulitzer Prize and be very famous in the world of writing and theater. And he was born under the 22. So I'm going to do the number 6 first. And then I'm just going to focus in on the 22, because we are in 2022 and there's energy around that 22. So in the 6 year, if your personal numerology, like if you add your birth date numbers, the month, your actual birthday, like if it's 16, the month, if it's October, it's 10. Then it might be 16, the 16th day. And then it might be, 1990. You would add all those together. Will probably come out to 2 numbers like 31 or something. And then you add those 2 numbers together to make what 31 is of 4. Everything comes down to 1 digit except the 22 and the number 11. Okay, so here we have the number 6 year. This is what it says. It's a time to reinvent yourself. It's a journey of responsibility, relationships, balance, healing. As the year proceeds, you will realize that at least one responsibility is no longer yours or was never yours to begin with. So that feels like an unloading of something, like letting go. It goes on. The number 6 year gives you the power of magnetism. You will attract whatever you focus on far more easily this year. So we could think about that individually, like if you're in I'm in a personal number 1 year, okay, which is really exciting. It's like the fool's journey. It's like a whole new path, okay? Journey is a good word. But some people, depending on their birthday, they're in a number 6 year right now. So the 6 year gives you the power of magnetism, but we're all in the number 6 year. So we can take this on. You will attract whatever you focus on more easily this year. That's good. Focus on peace, focus on equality, focus on democracy, and then focus on your own personal stuff too. But in the global sense, focus on this stuff. It can have its drawbacks. Every number has its drawbacks. It says, if you look for the problems, you will create them. So try to focus on the good in others. I'm just going to say focus on the good evidence. Replace outdated beliefs with more realistic understanding of life's precious diversity. Interesting, the use of diversity. Seek peaceful solutions to problems. And allow others to live their lives without your constant input and judgment. And it asks, do you judge? And you know what? I think we all do. I think you have to work very hard at being in a non-judgmental place. You have to be very conscious, aware, and work at it. And I work at it. And I'm never successful, only partially. And the number 6 year represents education. And especially something that might be a personal pursuit or a discovery of a truth. But don't assume that you or anyone else has all the answers. Just a good lesson in life is don't assume. That's another one. But the balanced energy of the number 6 renovates, restores, and heals. So it is the journey of love. So when I was writing healing with a question mark, the number 6 year implies some kind of healing. All right, now we're going to go with the 22 personal year, which is a master number. It's a master number. So it says in numerology, and we're looking at a number with double digit, it's called the master number because it has this very powerful effect on you and the world. The 22 year is about dynamic relationship with others. It's about manifestation. This might be the beginning of a life-changing relationship, business, spiritual, romantic, political. Interesting, huh? The 22 year is that for a builder, dealing with structure and organization. It made me think about Build Back Better. It made me think about infrastructure. It even says dealing with structure and organization. It makes me think Build Back Better will come back and get passed. The atmosphere created is one of trust, balance, and brilliant connections with others. This is another piece that makes me feel some kind of healing. Not right away, later on in the year. Not right away. New projects in all aspects of career, spirituality, creativity are wide open. It's a great year for getting things done, like this committee, and taking your relationships to the next step. Okay, now there's some challenges. There's always some challenges. It says old belief systems about success or feeling like a victim can be discarded, throw it away, just no assumption. This can mean your year, my year, to let go of old patterns and embrace a richer, fuller life. God willing, right? The payoff can be immense. You need to have discipline and focus in building your dreams and your intentions and taking action to make your dreams come true. That's also the Democratic Party. You might feel there are some days that you don't have what it takes. That would be normal. Yet this is a strength building year. And you achieve the goals step by step by step. And we're watching that right now with the committee, right? It's important to keep physically fit and exercise and move. And it says something that's really logical. It's important to make sure you have fun. It's important to make sure I have fun. It's important to have some fun, right? That's a stress reliever. And it says if you have a desire to teach, to start a business, invest, this is a great year to do it because 22 is the master builder. That's the 4, you know? And you be building a lasting foundation. And then that would be true of the United States. It makes me think that we won't lose democracy because it says it's a remarkable year. Okay, I'm glad I did this. All right, so I just blew up my font again like I always do, and then I'm gonna go back to it and fix it so I can read. And then these are just some tidbits because the focus of this today was to do some numerology and runes, just to spice it up and be a little different. And I hadn't talked about the year 2022 so far. I've been having something scratch at me, my left ear, that Mitch McTurtle, he might emerge as someone who's guilty of something. Yeah, it keeps repeating. So if it keeps repeating, I'm going to share it with you. I don't know what it is, but feels like there's secrets. Also, my left ear thinks he may have to retire. I did not throw runes on it. Maybe next week I will. We'll see if it persists. Here's something from me about the polls, because you watch MSNBC or CNN or anything, they talk about the polls. And the polls are so low for Joe Biden, so low. And I have to tell you, my left ear is screaming at me, beware. Just ignore the polls. Just sidestep the poles. Because what the pundits, many of them also say, they call the polls are low because of Joe Biden's legislative failures. And that's a quote, legislative failures. And I like sat straight up and I went, wait a minute. It's legislative obstruction that is the problem. Not that Joe Biden doesn't have flaws. I'm not, making that point. But there's been so much obstruction. I just fascinated they're calling it failures. Anyway, his polls are going to go up for whatever that's worth, but it's going to go up again. It's very normal that he takes off with this positivity, and then there's a downswing, and then and who can manage a pandemic? He's trying, but things will go back up for him. Now, there is proof that the DOJ, there's more proof that the DOJ is active, working. My last video, my final rune was the most positive rune, and it was about Merrick Garland. Like, is he going to step up? And it was very positive. And I said, he absolutely is going to step up. And the next day, they arrested 11 Oath Keepers plus that founding member whose name is Stuart Rhodes. That is big. And that is the domino. That's the beginning I was talking about. Good chance that one or more of the Oath Keepers will flip and talk. As much as they hate you and I, and they hate democracy, they don't want to go to jail. They don't want to go to jail. And word on the street now is that Stuart Rhodes, the guy with the eye patch is from a gun accident, by the way, that he's angry with Donald Trump. So I think Stuart Rhodes is easily going to flip because he's angry with Donald Trump. And if Stuart Rhodes is angry, that means possibly more Oath Keepers are angry. So it proves that the DOJ has been on it. Now, here's something interesting. My Twitter friend, Tom Joseph from Chicago, who has a really great podcast, is the only one I listen to pay for. He's been saying for a period of time, talking about, is the DOJ doing surveillance and wiretapping? And then Glenn Kirshner did a show 3 nights ago, and he started talking about, it was, I think, one of his best shows, hi Glenn, where he broke down a recent interview or article about Merrick Garland, and he intuitively picked out clues from the article. And Merrick Garland is extremely familiar with surveillance and wiretaps. And if there is surveillance and wiretaps and my left ear says, yep, no one's going to know about him. There's no journalist that's going to know. This kind of thing is under lock and key. So between Tom Joseph, between what Glenn Kirshner is suggesting, my left ear says, oh yeah, that's what's going on. So the Oath Keepers really serious. They were plotting and planning attacks with artillery. Stuart Rhodes allegedly spent $33,000 on additional arms before he reached DC. And the Oath Keepers, we're going to find out, had exchanges and coordinated with the hotel room that was production center for the sedition insurrection. They're going to come up as deeply connected to the White House and Roger Stone and Giuliani, all of them. I mean, I think this is part of what Jamie Raskin was talking about. But these are familiar names. There's going to be new names. Cannot wait to hear what these new names are going to be. You probably know that Kristen Sinema, I call her Kristen Enema just for fun because she's driving me nuts. She made a really stupid, long-winded speech that was just, oh my God. It had to do about listening. She made it at the Senate luncheon in front of Joe Biden, who attended the Senate luncheon. And then when she sat down, and presidents don't attend Senate lunches most of the time, but President Biden did, because he's on a rip with this voters' rights. For the entire lunch, she had her face in her phone. She's such a disrespectful person. She posted a picture of herself with John Lewis, like my good buddy, but she's voting against the voting rights. She's a very intolerable character. And then she and Joe Manchin were invited to the White House to meet with the president. Of course he would do that. And she announced her decision against fixing the filibuster or voting rights before going to the White House. She is, my left ear and the part of me that's a therapist said, this woman has arrested development. Something in her got freeze-dried around the age of 14 or 15. If you look how she dresses, that one time she went to the Senate in a little denim vest and a white t-shirt, and it was incredibly off. She has arrested development. This is my opinion. You know, there's a feud going on between Ron DeSantis, of governor of Florida, and Trump. I think Trump is getting threatened, because even though DeSantis doesn't say he wants to run in 24, it appears that he's positioning himself for that. I don't see it. But Trump came out and said, I made Ron DeSantis. And he doesn't like that Ron is getting attention. And they're acting like they were buds at one point. Now there's this faux thing that's going on because they both think they're running for president. Now I just want to say something about my left ear and the forgeries from 5 different states. They're getting into trouble. They're going to get brought up on charges. It's very serious. We just wait and watch. It's black and white. And we are getting closer to seeing Matt Gaetz take a perp walk, and then that'll be someone who's removed from Congress. His ex-girlfriend, who's some kind of sex worker, is being given immunity, and she's testifying. It's not good. Probably in the next month or 2. I think it's less than 2 months. We're going to see Gaetz get indicted. And that guy's going to be in shock. One good thing that Garland has done, he has set up a commission on domestic terrorism. He is very serious about that. So we need it. We need a big commission on domestic terrorism. So that's it for the reading part. Now I'm going to look behind me because there's a black blob sitting back there. I don't know if you can see, but Petey's taking a nap. He's all curled up in a ball, and it's kind of hard to see it because he's in a little black ball. But I'm really happy that he's taking a nap. I had the weirdest good evidence. It was so much fun. I have a friend whose father was somewhat famous in certain circles, and she knows lots and lots of people in the entertainment industry. And she was invited to an estate sale in Beverly Hills, and the estate sale was a woman who was a very well-known actress in the 1950s and the 1960s. I'm old enough to be a fan of this actress, but not everybody has ever heard of her. Her name, she's still alive, she's 95 years old, is Barbara Rush. And she was absolutely gorgeous. And she was in movies with Paul Newman, Kirk Douglas, Marlon Brando, like the big male superstars of the time. So her family has taken over her home. She's in assisted living, and they sold a lot of stuff, but they invited some people to come and, believe it or not, just take whatever they want, literally. So I said, Sarah has a hard time getting me out because I'm so weird about COVID and stuff. I said, I actually really want to go to this if you want company. And she was thrilled. And everybody there was triple vaxxed, and it wasn't crowded. It was very select group of people. And I had this overwhelming my left ear thing that said, you go, because there's something spiritual about this for you. And you may find some artwork that's spiritual. Go. So I went. Got kind of all dressed up. And there were stairs going up to the second floor. And my left ear said, go up to the second floor. And then I went up to the second floor and walked into a big room that really didn't have any furniture, but there was a big tray of jewelry, costume jewelry. And I looked, and there it was. There was the print that I came to get. Right there. And I went, oh, there you are. And there was a really nice man. And he goes, oh, that's fabulous. Do you want me to take it down for you? And that was it. I'm going to go pick it up and show it to you. But what I'll do is I'll put pictures of what I got on my community page, because I took pictures. Well, you know, I've got a new sofa there, and my sofa is velvet. And there were two like brand new green velvet pillows that are not the color of my sofa, but pick up the colors in my area rug. And I thought, I have the weirdest feeling that these pillows will look great on my sofa. And they do. Then I had been looking for big bolsters for my bedroom, my bed, that would be in like maybe an animal print or tan and beige, because I'm going to redo my bedroom in brown and cream and tan. There they were, two giant animal print bolsters. I grabbed those. I grabbed a silver-plated little serving condiment dish. Wasn't really thinking, an ashtray and some jewelry and things, and then a beautiful expensive throw with purple and magenta and all the colors in my living room. Well, that's in my living room now. I'll show a picture of that. It really was so much fun. And the people there were really friendly. And I took, evidently Barbara Rush, one of her hobbies was painting and one of her hobbies was needlepoint. And I got this needlepoint pillow that she made, perfect condition. And so I got a piece of like her. And then there were people there. I just felt there were ghosts there. You know, like I felt like the other side was around me. But people kept saying to me, boy, you look familiar. You look so familiar. Everybody was telling me I look familiar. And the feeling was, I had such a good time. The feeling was that I have been quarantined, pretty non-social, and they let me out of solitary. And I walk into this house with beautiful things and really beautiful people and nice people. And it was like, just lit me up. It was really good evidence. And then I got all these goodies. So I'll post the pictures because they're really fun. They are on my Instagram. And my Instagram is Carrie Freeman, my left ear. Oh no, Carrie's left ear, sorry. Carrie's left ear. But I'll post them on our community page. I just wanted to share that because that was like really big evidence. Now, when I'm writing about evidence, there's a category called synchros. And that's when a big coincidence happens or a little psychic thing, a synchronicity. Well, let me just tell you, I get home from this wonderful day. Well, first of all, then in the afternoon, I get a phone call out of the blue. I'm in my car and it's a friend of mine that I haven't seen 2 years. He lives in the neighborhood with his husband. And he said, Mark and I want to take you to dinner tonight. And I went, seriously? Yeah, we want to take you to dinner tonight. So I went out and had this fantastic gourmet dinner with them, and I hadn't seen them in a couple of years, and we had a blast and we laughed. So that day the energy was just, wow, it was really great. It was Saturday and it was raining. It's such a good day. That was the other piece of it. All right, so now I come home about 9:30. I'm getting ready. I crawl into bed. I got the TV in the bedroom. Okay, this is really great. I turn on the TV and a movie channel comes up with Barbara Rush, the actress who's personal items I have now in my home, and Marlon Brando. And I wish there would have been a camera on me, because like I'm kind of tired, and I turned this on and I went, what? It was the weirdest thing. It was the weirdest thing, people. And that's what I mean about, I felt like spirit was around me, and almost like she was saying, I'm really glad you took what you got. I have no explanation for you. Anyway, here's the quotes. I did a couple of quotes on hope, because the voting doesn't look good. We're gonna have to polarize and work very hard. We will overcome. So here's one by J.R.R. Tolkien, the author. He wrote, "Oft hope is born when all is forlorn." So, you know, there's a turning point when one is forlorn, or a nation is forlorn. And that's what J.R.R. Tolkien was saying. Oft hope is born when all is forlorn. The next is Emily Dickinson, the poet. Just thought this was poetic and beautiful. She wrote, "Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all." Just beautiful. And the last one, believe it or not, is from a sports celebrity, one of the biggest of all times. This is a quote from Michael Jordan on winning. He wrote or said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." You know, I feel like I heard this before, but we're faced with so many challenges, personally, politically, globally, on so many different levels. This just meant a lot to me. I'm looking at 26 times the team trusted me to take the game's winning shot, and I missed 26 times. So I hope this gives you a little hope, inspiration, and thanks for joining me. Once again, please like, please subscribe, please tell your friends. I'll see you soon. We just keep hope alive, and we work hard, and we don't give up, okay? That's the way it's gonna work. Make peace and make good memories and a little bit of evidence, okay? So take care, here we go, bye-bye. Bye-bye.